Well, Donald Trump was awkwardly pressed about the killing of a journalist in a Saudi Arabian consulate. And Donald Trump was so pissed off, he immediately called for the revoking of ABC News's broadcasting license simply for asking the question, which definitely begs the question, aren't we supposed to be in a place of First Amendment, the free speech, and the right to ask questions? But Donald Trump took it as really offensive, which is quite interesting because Donald Trump in the past has actually argued that the Saudis, when they killed this journalist, did such a bad job covering up the murder of the journalist. These are Donald Trump's words, mind you. I'll play them for you. That the Saudis probably committed the worst cover-up in history. So you literally go from the Saudis having a journalist killed to silence the journalist and opposition in Saudi Arabia. We're going to go through the details. To Donald Trump getting asked about that killing today, which is, over here in the timeline, where in the past he says it's the worst cover-up ever. And today he's like, how could you even ask that question? We're going to revoke your news license for trying to embarrass this individual who's coming to the White House from Saudi Arabia, while the Trump family is off gallivanting, doing deals with the Saudis and the Maldives and in artificial intelligence. There's a lot to unpack here, but that gives you a little bit of an overview. But we got to get into some of the facts, because the facts around this murder are insane. And it's not just the CIA report, which we're going to go through as well. We're going to start, before we go through the actual CIA report, just to tease it for you, I got it ready, okay? The killing of Jamal Khashoggi. Not only are we going to go through this, but we're going to go through what Donald Trump said then and what he's saying now. For now, let's go ahead and start with the question. And what I want you to see is how awkward it is for the individual on the left from Saudi Arabia to not only sort of bury his head in this, but then his response is almost even more of a giveaway, because he ends up brushing it off as, things happen. Watch for it. It's insane. All right, you ready for this? Here we go. Kevin, you have to make the audio. You're going to have to make the audio play through the computer so everybody can hear it. Okay, what is this? Is this fake news?
President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business.
The irony about this fake news thing is what she asked is exactly what's happening. What she said in her statement, which was also a question, is the truth. And Donald Trump blatantly says, fake news. Now you're going to see how Donald Trump himself has commented on this in the past, and it sort of makes this whole you're just fake news. What he's really doing is he's trying to cover for the individual from Saudi Arabia here, because it's awkward. Imagine another head of state comes from Saudi Arabia and sits down in your office, and then a reporter's like, hey, how come you're sitting next to a murderer who killed a journalist to suppress free speech? And then what Donald Trump does is immediately resort to trying to suppress free speech. And I bet you she got kicked out of the White House press pool, and now ABC is being threatened to lose their broadcast license. It's insane. But anyway.
But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as
and we're not bringing in 21 trillion. The number keeps going up by the minute, but okay.
This gentleman is concerned.
This gentleman, by the way, is the Saudi crown prince. He's sort of considered the de facto ruler of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
He's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial.
Like, look at this. Awkward. Like, let me play with my hands while Donald Trump defends me. Awkward.
A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew.
There's Donald Trump's line. Things happen. This is actually quite interesting because I thought the other individual said things happen. So clarification there. Donald Trump says things happen. Donald Trump knows exactly what murder is being talked about here. Okay, Donald Trump knows. Not only does Donald Trump know, but Donald Trump is basically saying, hey, you know, people didn't like that journalist. Basically, he's saying maybe he deserved to die. That's crazy. Okay, let's keep going.
Do nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass
what?
whether you like
him or didn't like him.
Things happen, but he knew nothing about it.
But he knew nothing about it. Okay, that's the cover-up story. Okay, that's where like you could immediately see him change his look, almost like, nah, I actually ordered the killing. Now, why would we say that the Saudi Crown Prince ordered the killing? Oh, I don't know, because maybe the CIA realized that, one of the operatives for the guy on the left was literally involved in the murder. Now, how would the CIA know that the Saudi Crown Prince's operatives were involved in the murder? What if I told you the very place the murder happened at was bugged, and they have audio transcripts of the murder? Like, this should be a movie because it is so insane for Donald Trump to be denying this.
And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question.
That's what Trump's doing here, though, is in fairness, he's like, oh, you're embarrassing. That's why he's calling her fake news. Well, why would you ask about the truth? How dare you ask about the truth? We only do truth, social truth out here.
Like
that. Just you ask, Mr. President, if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people.
So basically, this guy is now going to use a red herring, and I'm not referring to the red on his head. He's going to use, look at him. He looks stunned. He's like, holy crap. Literally, I went to the White House, and now I'm getting ambushed for a murder I basically coordinated. But, what he's doing is he's throwing a red herring. He's like, hey, these are just papers. Hey, by the way, did you know that Osama bin Laden tried to, drive a wedge between the Saudis and the Americans via 9/11? How evil is that? Like, let's just distract from the fact that you just murdered a journalist. You know what that journalist wanted? He wanted something really radical. Do you know what that journalist was calling for? I wrote it down because I don't want to screw it up. And this blows my mind, okay? Because these are some insane things the journalist was calling for. You ready for that? The journalist in Saudi Arabia was calling for the following. Women today should have the same rights as men. And all citizens should have the right to speak their minds without fear of imprisonment. Well, that'll get you killed in Saudi Arabia, apparently.
And that event, for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to prove him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or not in a legal way, and it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc.
No, you didn't, because when it came time to investigate, you actually denied authorizing local investigators or third-party investigators from actually entering where the killing happened for 2 weeks. so you could clean up the kill site. Oh, don't worry. We'll get to the kill site as well. You'll get to see some of it.
From Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that.
Hey guys, we're gonna make sure we don't kill journalists again who talk up against us. We'll just remove their license instead.
And it's painful and it's a huge mistake. And
all right, we're doing the best. Okay, great. So now, like, I've thrown a lot here. I've laid a lot up. I owe you a lot now, okay? I owe you a lot of detail, because if you just listen to this first portion here, you're gonna be like, I don't know, man, Kevin. You have and you should. As a smart viewer, you should be like, okay, Kevin, you better show us now, because you just laid up a lot of allegations. So you better show us where this is coming from. Because, you know, there are going to be some people here who are going to like Donnie, and they want to see the evidence. Oh, you'll see it. Let's get started. First, we'll start with the CIA. CIA report, February 2021. Mind you that this report, released by the DNI, was released 20 days into the Biden administration, which likely means you still had mostly Trump individuals, Trump 1.0 individuals inside the government. Now, don't worry, we'll have plenty of information outside of this government report as well, and you won't even need to look at this government report to believe what the hell is happening, but I want you to look at what was written here. So first, we assess that the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince, MBS, the person you just saw sitting there, approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey, inside the Saudi Arabian consulate to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. We base this assessment on the Crown Prince's control of decision-making in the kingdom since 2017 and the direct involvement of a key advisor and members, multiple members, of the MBS protective detail in the operation. So again, this happened in Istanbul, but it happened on Saudi Arabian soil, technically, because it's at the embassy, right? Anyway, the direct involvement of key advisors and members of MBS's protective detail, the Crown Prince's support for violent measures to silence dissidents abroad, including Khashoggi. Since 2017, the Crown Prince has had absolute control of the kingdom's security and intelligence operations, making it highly unlikely that Saudi officials would have carried out the operation without the Crown Prince's approval. This Crown Prince almost certainly approved it. That's what the CIA is saying. At the time of the Khashoggi murder, the Crown Prince probably fostered an environment in which aides were afraid that failure to complete assigned tasks might result in him firing or arresting them. You know, the irony of this is Donald Trump makes everyone around him afraid that you're going to get fired if you don't do what he wants. People were afraid, and then they went to go kill for the Crown Prince because they were afraid of losing their jobs. This suggests that aides were unlikely to question the MBS orders or undertake sensitive actions without his consent. So of course they're going to ask for consent. A 15-member Saudi team that arrived in Istanbul on October 2nd, 2018 included officials that were associated with the royal court and him, including 7 members of his elite personal protective detail. This is literally like Donald Trump's Secret Service going to kill a journalist because they're afraid of being fired by Donald Trump. The Crown Prince viewed Khashoggi as a threat to the kingdom and broadly supported using violent measures, if necessary, to silence him. Okay? And then they literally list the people's names involved. Now you might wonder, how the hell do they know who's involved? Okay, if you are like queasy here, I really apologize. I'm not going to show anything crazy right now, but I'm going to read you something that's crazy. And so I just want to caution you that if you don't like where this is going, you might want to not listen to this because it's intense. All right. This is from a Turkish newspaper. Audio recordings of the horrifying conversations between the 15-man Saudi hit squad and their victim, Khashoggi, have been revealed to the public for the first time. So yeah, you're about to hear, well, me read audio recording transcripts of the murder of this guy. It ain't pretty. Now, keep in mind that the Saudi kingdom originally said they knew nothing about this killing. Okay, so they literally went from, oh, we don't know anything about this killing. And then like 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, they're like, yeah, actually, that was just a rogue operator. Yeah, we acknowledge that, somebody wanted to murder him and that's bad. But we knew nothing about it. Okay. You see when you go through these transcripts what you think about it. All right, ready for this? Just 12 minutes before Khashoggi arrived, there are recorded conversations of Mutreb and Salah Muhammad al-Tubagi, the head of forensic evidence at the Saudi General Security Department, who was in charge of dismembering Khashoggi's body. Timestamps are 1:02 p.m., just 12 minutes before Khashoggi arrived. Okay? These are members of the kill squad, if you will. Mutreb, is it possible to put the body in a bag? The forensic guy. No, too heavy, very tall. I normally put on my earphones and listen to music while I cut cadavers. In the meantime, I sip on coffee and smoke. After I dismember it, you will wrap the parts into a plastic bag, put them in suitcases, and take them out of the building. All right? So now we have, some more conversations over here. And so the other parts I highlighted. First, when Khashoggi arrives, he is greeted. And what do you get after he's greeted? You get, first, he is politely invited into the consul's office on the second floor. When he starts to get suspicious, he is pulled by the arm. He then says, let go. What do you think you're doing? As soon as Khashoggi enters the room, Mutreb says, please sit. We have to take you back. We have an order from Interpol. Interpol is demanding you be returned. We are here to take you. To which Khashoggi responds, there are no lawsuits against me. My fiance is waiting for me outside. They then ask if he has any phones, and at the same time, there's somebody yelling in the background to cut it short, to hurry up and get this over with, basically. So you're going to see that multiple times here. To which Mutreb asks, what brand phones do you have? He says he has 2 iPhones. And then the last 10 minutes, the dialogue goes on to suggest that Mutreb says, leave a message for your son. Khashoggi, what should I tell my son? You will write a message. Let's rehearse. Show it to us. What should I say? See you soon? Somebody else. Cut it short. You will write something like, I'm in Istanbul. Don't worry if you can't reach me. I shouldn't say kidnapped. Take your jacket off, says another member of the hit squad. How can such a thing take place at a consulate? I'm not writing anything. Cut it short. I'm not writing anything. Write it, Jamal. Hurry up. Help us so we can help you. Because in the end, we will take you back to Saudi Arabia if you don't help us. And you know what will happen eventually. There is a towel here. Will you have me drugged? We will put you to sleep. After he was drugged, Khashoggi says, do not keep my mouth closed before losing consciousness. I have asthma. Do not do it. You will suffocate me. Those were Khashoggi's last words. The killers had already placed a plastic bag over his head, and he would eventually be suffocated to death. Before Khashoggi gives his final breath, scuffling and suffocation sounds continue for a while. Then the post-mortem phase begins, which include the sounds of dismembering Khashoggi's body. At exactly 1:39 p.m., the sound of an autopsy saw is heard. The savage procedure lasts for 30 minutes. This is an autopsy saw, by the way. So what you have is clearly a murder. Now, what did Donald Trump say in the past, and how does that reconcile with what Donald Trump said today? And then I'm going to show you some more of the cover-up. All right, ready for this? This is what Donald Trump said when it happened in 2018.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on the right, greeting today the son of the man. And Turkey says Saudi Arabia killed in cold blood Jamal Khashoggi. In Washington, President Trump accused Saudi Arabia not of murdering the journalist, it's admitted that, but of doing it badly.
It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. It's very simple.
Do you hear that? So, if you're wondering, somebody in the chat in the comments is like, Kevin, what does this have to do with today? Do you not get it? Do you really not get it? You literally today have a reporter in the Oval Office asking about the very murder that Donald Trump admits was the worst cover-up ever in the history of cover-ups. A journalist asks, well, if they just committed a murder And it was the worst cover-up in the history of cover-ups. Why is he sitting in the Oval Office, Mr. Trump? And why are you doing deals with the Saudis? Oh, what deals with the Saudis? How about this? A new Trump resort in the Maldives, thanks to the Saudi partnership. Oh boy. What else are the Saudis doing? Oh, Saudi Arabia pushes for AI power with mega fund and direct investments into AI via Donald Trump. Wow. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that Donald Trump is sitting right here calling this reporter's license to be banished, to silence this reporter for asking a question about the very murder that Donald Trump was the worst, that Donald Trump says was the worst murder cover-up ever, because nobody knows murder cover-ups better than Donald Trump. Maybe Virginia from the Epstein files didn't kill herself.
Then Trump accused Saudi Arabia
Listen
not
to it
of
again.
murdering the journalist. It's admitted that, but of doing it badly.
It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups.
So I hate to say it, but when you put this stuff together, the fact that you have a journalist, I mean, listen to this. You're here in the Oval Office. Listen to it yourself.
Why should Americans trust you?
Why should Americans trust you? Same for you, Mr. President. Why should Americans trust you when, you know, you, the Royal Highness here, had this journalist murdered? And then the first thing Donald Trump says, the first thing is this.
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the
But the
worst,
question is
one of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Really? Really, Donald Trump? They're fake news? You were the one who said, in your own words, it was the worst cover-up in history. Now, all of a sudden, you're buddy-buddy with the Saudis because it's helping the Trump business. You guys are making a crap load of money, not just on crypto. I mean, they're literally funneling. The Middle East, people in the Middle East are funneling money into Binance, into any kind of investments they can using Donald Trump's stablecoins, enriching Donald Trump so they can get what they want, including weapons sales. We are literally selling tanks and fighter jets to these folks. You know, because we're going to prop up American manufacturing. But look at what this is all on the backs of. Now, watch this, okay? Because this is crazy. Now, the audio of this is stupid because it's just like a little overlay, but I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to silence the audio because it's just this music. Exclusive footage obtained shows Turkish investigators collecting evidence from the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. This is where the murder happened, where Khashoggi was brutally killed and dismembered October 2nd, 2018. Turkish officials were not given access to the consulate for DNA testing until more than 2 weeks after the incident. And a UN special reporter said that there was evidence that was thoroughly cleaned and forensically cleaned. So basically, a UN individual went in and is like, bro, you guys tried to clean the crap out of it. But not only did you try to clean the murder site, you guys did a really bad job at cleaning the murder site. Like, watch. Here, you literally still see, with blacklight in a moment on the floor, the blood stains that they cleaned up. But not only that, they were so dumb, they left the receipts of the dry cleaning of the carpets on the carpets. Some of the blood stains, it's understood that some blood stains weren't cleaned, weren't missed. You know, I don't exactly know what they're showing here. Here, look at this. The carpets were sent to dry cleaning after the incident, but the receipts were still attached to the carpets for the dry cleaning. The dry cleaning company was wholly forgotten. They forgot to take the receipts off. And then this right here, they actually think that after they chopped up Khashoggi, they basically burned him. Now, the Saudi consulate said that they were cooking a lot of meat because people were wondering, here, like, a baker reportedly helped the Saudi team, which could not ignite the oven on the day of the incident. And investigators say large quantities of meat were barbecued there right after the killing as a possible cover-up. Oh yeah, guys, we were just having a barbecue. We weren't trying to cook a human. And then they also, the Saudis did not allow testing, independent testing of the water well, where they actually think the body may have been dissolved in acid because they failed to host their barbecue. Somebody here in the chat writes, this is 7 years ago. They have new tactics now. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So, like, I hate to say it, but this drives me nuts because Donald Trump, this is the guy walking into the consulate, by the way. This was the famous sort of surveillance footage showed, because he went missing and people were like, where is he? And they literally see him walking into the consulate. Everybody knew he was about to get killed, who was on the inside of it, because 15 people were part of it, Then, they actually go as far as saying, yeah, you know what? Now we're going to admit that this murder did happen, but it was basically somebody who went rogue. And, this incident is actually very painful to the Saudis. And it should be painful to anyone. We're all grieving together. That's the guy who was just in the White House that Donald Trump was defending. It's insane. Meanwhile, and this is the scariest part about it all, this part drives me nuts. Trump calls for ABC's license to be revoked after reporter asks about Epstein files. It wasn't just the Epstein files. It was both. So, see? Oh, come on, CB. Oh, I don't want to join Jim Cramer. F off. Your news is so fake and so wrong, Trump told Bruce in the Oval Office as he met with the Crown Prince. Because they followed up with Epstein talk after that. You're a terrible reporter. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you, Trump said in the Oval Office. It's literally the same kind of silencing of free speech that the Saudis did by murdering Khashoggi, except it's literally happening in the damn Oval Office. Well, if you want life insurance, you can get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes by going to meetkevin.com/life. Paid sponsor of the channel.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.